speaking your truth. What does that even mean? Yes, Mazari.
You speak up.
You speak up. Anybody else? Jyrese.
Being honest.
Being honest. Anyone else?
How do you speak your truth?
And then it says what?
Your truth is your power.
What does that even mean? Let me see some new hands, Derek.
If you speak up the truth, it'll make you feel better.
Okay. Somebody new. Yes.
Like when you tell the truth, like, and express how you feel.
So, once the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it freed the slaves. But did everybody like that?
No.
No. Once the slaves were free and then they were thriving and doing well, then you had this white supremacy group that said, we're not having that. So they went around and they did hateful things towards black people. So this group has been in existence for hundreds of years, basically. Not exactly hundreds of years, but for a very long time. And this particular group came to Kentucky. And the speaker that you're going to hear today is the young lady in that image. And she's going to share with you how she spoke her truth and what was going on with her when she decided to stand amongst the KKK. What would you have done in that situation if the KKK came to your community to spew hatred? What would you do, Jyrese?
I would hide in my house.
You would hide in your house? What would you have done, Derek?
I would have just stand up to them.
You would stand up to them? What would you have done, PJ? You would have said, stop? What would you have done?
I would have represented my country and stand up for them.
You would have what? I can't hear you.
Represented my country and stand up for them.
Okay. What would you have done?
I would have went to another country.
You would have went to another country. But that's not what Laquita Carter did. What do you see her doing?
Standing up.
Standing up. She spoke her what?
Truth.
And what was her truth, you think?
For black people to
stand up
live freely.
To stand up to the Ku Klux Klan. I was going to maybe I can get somebody to help me. Mr. Red. You're gonna read this highlighted part here. Okay.
Miss Laquita Carter, ESL teacher at Western Middle School for the Arts. I have taught K through 8th grade for the past 14 years. I am married to founding pastor Keith D. Carter of Grace Fellowship Community Church in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Through marriage, I have 2 daughters and 2 grandsons.
I want to share a little bit more information about Miss Carter. She has done speaking engagements and presentations. One at the Rob Nelson Show in Los Angeles, California. A guest speaker at Wheeler Elementary and now Mill Creek Elementary. She presented at the KYWP LWP conference, Mental Lexicon. Her awards, achievement, and special recognitions. A certificate for Community Service Award from the Council for Exceptional Children of Kentucky University. Jewish National Fund of Canada and Israel planted trees in her honor for what she's done. Also, Martin Luther King Jr. Adult Leadership Award. She has Laquita Shepherd Day. It's a proclamation of Jefferson County Judge Executive Rebecca Jackson. It was proclaimed on January the 21st, 2003. So she has a day in her honor. How amazing is that?
When is it?
It is January the 21st. Award of Excellence for outstanding and deep commitment to social justice and civil rights for all people, a warrior in the battle against racial prejudice, a champion in the movement for nonviolent social change. Pride Incorporated, the Grand Marshal of the Martin Luther King Jr. Motorcade and Rally. Listed in Hall of Heroes at the Underground Railroad Freedom Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. Everyday Freedom Heroes. And also a Martin Luther King Jr. Citizenship Award nominee. And she has been cited in several newspaper articles, as you saw today. So please join me in welcoming Miss Laquita Carter.
Where should I stand?
Wherever you want. You can walk around the room, whatever you want to do.
Just I brought some things that I want to share with everyone, so I'll just use this chair. How about that? So to start, I guess I'll just start telling the story of what happened. So I'll stand up here, and then I'll come around with some of my items that I want to share with you. So I'll just talk because I don't want to.
Yeah, just talk. Yeah.
Okay, so raise your hand if you know part of my story, if you know my story, a little bit about it. You've heard about it? Yes? Okay. So, it was 2002, and there was newspaper articles coming out saying that this group, are you familiar with the
KKK.
KKK?
Yes.
Okay. So there's this group, the KKK, they were going to have a rally in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So they were going to get together and have this this meeting, public meeting. And so I decided that I was not going to go. That's what I had decided. I decided I wasn't going to go because I think it's just they're just a bunch of bullies and they're always being mean to other people. So I had decided I wasn't going to go. So I was in college, I was in school. So that morning I got up, I started typing my papers for a class. And then I started thinking, oh, I need some things at the store. So I drove down the road, and the store that I was going to was right near where the rally was taking place. So I drove my car down the road to the store. So I was in my car, and the store that I need to go to was on the right. Well, the meeting that they were having, the public meeting, was at the courthouse, which was right to the yes, I got my directions messed up. Right to the left. So I was driving my car, and as I got closer, I could hear they had this music going on that wasn't I could hear the music. I could see people standing out there with signs telling them that they didn't want them there. And so I drove my car, and I was supposed to go to the right, but I drove left. And I drove into the parking lot that was right there where the meeting was happening, the rally was happening. So I got out of my car, and once I got out of I just sat in my car, and I started thinking, what am I doing? I didn't really know what I had planned to do. I didn't have a plan. So I was in my car, and so I stepped out of my car, and I started walking towards the rally. So when you get there, one side is for people who are protesting the KKK. They're not supporting them at all. And then on the other side was people who supported the KKK and what they stood for. So, but they weren't KKK. They wasn't Klansmen. So I get up to my car, and I get out of my car, and I'm up there, and by this time, I'm hearing all the mean words that they're saying, and so tears start rolling down my eyes, and I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm like, tears hadn't rolled down my eyes yet, but actually they did. So I've been walking up, and I said, you know what, let me just go over here with the people who are protesting the KKK, because I don't agree with what they stand for, and I don't like it, so I'm going to go on that side. So I went through, and they had police officers there to wind you to make sure you didn't have anything that could hurt someone. So I got in there, and I went in, and I'm standing with them, and there were people talking. They had their signs, but they were saying mean things too. They were saying mean things back to the KKK. I didn't like that, so I was ready to leave. I was about to leave, and right before I walked away, one of the youth groups there said, "Let's say a prayer." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna get in the prayer group because I'm okay with that." So I got in the prayer group, and then I turned around and I was leaving. Like I said, they were still being mean back and forth. So I got out, I was leaving, and then as I was walking out to leave, I started thinking to myself, we live in America. It's a free country. We can go wherever we want to go. It doesn't matter who's saying mean things. We can do whatever we want to do. So I just walked myself over to the other side where the supporters were. people were looking at me like, what is she doing? She supports the KKK. What is happening? So the policeman wanted me. He didn't say anything to me. And I walked in. And remember I said the youth group just said a prayer. So when I was walking in, the people that were supporting the KKK decided they were going to have a prayer. So I walked into the middle of their circle. And so I have a picture for that. So I walked into the middle of their circle. And so they were standing, kneeling. They had kneeled to pray. And I'll pass this around. So this picture you may have seen. They were kneeling, and I walked up into the crowd. And so I just stood there. I didn't really know what was going on. I just stood there. And so the guy that was right here when they stood up, the guy that has wrapped himself in the flag, the Confederate flag, he walked over to the gate and told the police to get me. He said, get her. I saw him do this, and I saw the police do this. And so what was happening now in my mind, I kept thinking, love, 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 love. Because they're obviously full of hate. You have to be full of hate if you're talking mean about other people for no reason. So I just kept thinking love, love, love. So then this man and this woman, they started walking closer to because they had it blocked off between where the KKK were and then the supporters and protesters. So they started walking towards the gate. And I just walked behind them. I just walked closer to them. The only thing that kept going on in my head was love, love, love. So I just got closer and closer to them. And I just stood right there with them. And after that, the KKK men they stopped their music. They were blaring that music that wasn't so nice. They stopped their music and they said, we're gonna pack up early. We're gonna go. So the Klan rally, because I stood up there next to them, they decided they were gonna pack up and leave 45 minutes early. So they weren't gonna keep on saying all those mean things they were saying. They just packed up and left. And so this is a picture of when I walked through when I was standing there when I first got in close to them in that circle. And these were the only people that were there on the supporter side. So most people agreed that they were not so nice. And then there was also another, it was called a Unity Festival that was happening on the other side of town so that people didn't have to come to this and experience this. And so that's pretty much the story of what happened that day. And I have this, so I'm gonna let you all see this. You may have seen it already. That is one article after I talked to the elementary school in Bowling Green. And then here's another one. This is actually, this one has the Unity, the counter protest. It has the signs and it shows the people that were actually there. See, this girl right here, she started being mean too. So I didn't like that. That's why I left the group. She started being mean and I said, they're being mean, so why be mean back? That's not how it works, right? It just makes it worse. So I have that to share. I have a pillow because that was in the Courier Journal, and that was in the that's in the College Heights newspaper, the college newspaper. That's the Louisville Courier Journal that is published here. And then this is an Indiana newspaper. Someone saw it in the Indiana newspaper, and they took the newspaper and they printed it on this pillow. So this pillow's just kind of been sitting in my house. So it's it's kind of sort of unraveled. So I'm not gonna pass this around. And it's the newspaper, so it's starting to bleed through like the paper, advertisement that was on the other side. It's starting to come through, but it's the same story. And this is actually of me sharing this at one of the elementary schools. So it's just, this was in the Indiana newspaper. And this is for me speaking at Wheeler Elementary. So I'll pass that around. And then for Laquita Carter, well, I say Carter because I got married, so my name changed. So I'm Mrs. Carter now. But this is my day, January 21st. And so this is the official paper certificate that says I have a day. And so it's in plastic, so I'll pass this around, just keep it in there. So you all can just pass that around and share, to make sure everyone gets to see it. And then this is a news article, same picture. This is a magazine from the Underground Freedom Museum. This is the newspaper, their magazine, and so this is their story, their version of the story. So that's in here, and I just have it folded so you can see the actual words that were written for that. I don't think, and so they took my picture and they had me in the museum. It's like if you go into the museum and go upstairs, there's a floor called Everyday Heroes, and so there's different people from all over the world that are featured in that. And I'm not sure if I'm still featured because it's been so long but that's in there. Any questions? I'm gonna start questions and answers, but I'll start pulling out stuff just so we can see it, because I don't want to run out of time and not